Okay, if you are 7 Excel, we are working from the Advanced 2 textbook. If you are Math 8, we are working from the Course 3 textbook. We are doing lesson 10.2, product of powers property. And it can be found on pages 418 and 419. So let's talk about what we know so far about powers and exponents. Okay. We know that this is the base and this is the exponent. And the exponent tells us how many times we're using the base as a factor. So what this is telling us is we are going to multiply 8 3 times. So the exponent tells us how many times we're using the base as a factor, or how many times we're multiplying that base. And this is said 8 to the 3rd power. So what this is telling us is product of powers property. Product is a multiplication problem of powers, of exponents property. So multiplication of exponents property. That's what we're doing, multiplication of exponents. And there will be 3 situations that we run into. So the first situation we run into is multiplying powers with the same base. So we have 2 to the 4th power times 2 to the 5th power. And what this is telling me is I have 2 times 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 2. So 2 to the 4th power, 1, 2, 3, 4, times 2 to the 5th power, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what this really is 2 to the 9th power. So when our base is the same, when we're multiplying the base, which is the same, we are going to add those exponents. Okay? So when our base is the same, when we're multiplying and our base is the same, we add those exponents, because that's exactly what's going on here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And 4 plus 5 is 9. So let's say we have -5 times -5 to the 6th power. What is this telling us? Well, it is -5 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So how many -5s do we have that we're multiplying? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is equal to -5 to the 7th power. Well, how is it the 7th power if we're adding these together? It doesn't look like there's an exponent here, but really there is. It's an invisible exponent. It is -5 to the 1st power times -5 to the 6th power. And we're going to add these together. So that is -5 to the 1st plus 6. And that's what gets us -5 to the 7th power, like we've shown here. So whenever you have a number and there's no exponent to it, it's there, it's just an invisible one. Okay? So let's take a look. We have x to the 3rd power times x to the 7th power. So we have 1, 2, 3 times How many x's is that? 7, 8, 9, 10. This is x to the 10th power. So this is x, 3 plus 7 is x to the 10th power. So we will have situations like this where our base is the same, where we're multiplying the same base. And when that's the case, we add the exponents together. Okay, we have another situation where we find a power of a power, where we're finding the exponent of an exponent. So we have 3 to the 4th power, and we want that 3 times. So what this is telling me is I've got 3 to the 4th power, 1, 2, 3, 4. But I want this whole thing 3 times. So here's 3 to the 4th power, and here it is 3 times. 3 to the 4th power, 3 times. How many 3s do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So this is equal to 3 to the 12th power. How do we get that? Well, we have a power inside the parentheses and a power outside the parentheses, an exponent inside and an exponent outside. And these parentheses, it acts like parentheses. So we're going to multiply 3 to the 4 times 3 power. So what is 4 times 3? 4 times 3 is 12. So when you've got an exponent inside the parentheses and an exponent outside the parentheses like this, it's just like when we have a number on the outside of the parentheses, we need to multiply them. We're going to multiply them. Okay. Okay, so let's take a look. If we have w to the 5th power to the 3rd power, so this is w to the 5th power. We've got 5 of them, but we want 3 of these. So how many w's do we have? Here's w to the 5th power. And we've got 3 of them. So this is w to the 15th power. How did we get that? Well, just like parentheses. This is just like when we're working with parentheses. It is w to the 5 times 3rd power. And 5 times 3 is 15. This is what's going on. Okay, that's how we get 15. Okay, and we have one more example, one more situation that we will have with exponents. So this is finding a power of a product. Finding a power of a product. So what we have, we've got 2x to the 3rd power. So this is telling me I want 3 of these. 2x times 2x times 2x. And if I combine my like terms, well, not combine, but if I rearrange this, I get 2 times 2 times 2 times x times x times x, right? 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. And then I have x to the 3rd power. Okay, this is fine, but how do we do that? Well, this is kind of like the distributive property. This is 2 to the third power, and this is x to the third power. 2 to the third power and x to the third power. So this is 2 times 2 times 2 times x to the third power. What is 2 times 2? 4 times 2 is 8, x to the third power. And that's exactly what we got here. So when you have multiplication problem like this inside the parentheses with an exponent outside, it's kind of like the distributive property. You're going to apply this exponent to the first term, and then you're going to apply this exponent to the second term. So let's do one more. 3 times x times y squared. So I'm going to, it's kind of like the distributive property. This is 3 squared times x squared times y squared. 3 times 3 times x squared times y squared. 3 times 3 is 9, x squared, y squared. So what's actually going on here is I need to multiply 2 of these. So I've got 3xy times 3xy. So if I rearrange these, I've got 3 times x times y times y. 3 times 3 is 9, x times x is x squared, and y times y is y squared. So this is what's going on. We got the same answer. So this is telling me I want 2. I'm going to multiply 2 of these with each other. Okay? So those are the 3 situations that we will run into today. So these are the 3 different situations we'll run into today. Multiplying powers with the same base. And when that happens, we add the exponents together. When we are trying to find a power of a power, it's parentheses. And just like a number in front of parentheses and we have to multiply, it's the same thing here. We've got an exponent just on the outside of these parentheses, so we're going to multiply the exponents. And then when we're trying to find the power of a product, it's kind of like the distributive property. We take this exponent and it is applied to each of the terms. And then we may have to actually multiply that out. Okay? So that's what we're doing today.